All SUVs are not created equal on the crashworthiness front. So how does the Hyundai Santa Fe hope to compete with premium brands like Jeep, Audi and Land Rover? The answer's going to shock you. Safety is very important. Road trauma costs Australians $30 billion a year. There's only 23 million people living in Australia. The road trauma cost per capita is staggering. We're each paying $1,300 annually just to stem this bloody tide, not to mention the profound personal suffering. Safer vehicles are definitely part of the solution, and the Santa Fe really does deliver on safety. Santa Fe gets 5 stars, independently determined by ANCAP. The books, thankfully, cannot be cooked on 5-star crashworthiness, as some other SUV manufacturers have discovered. You won't believe which vehicles fail to measure up. This is the third instalment of my long-term Santa Fe evaluation. Hyundai supplied the vehicle, but they are not paying for this review, and I'm receiving no compensation whatsoever from Hyundai for producing it. The views expressed are entirely mine and completely independent. If Hyundai or anyone else doesn't really like what I say, I'm okay with that. So let's go crash and see how a few different SUVs stack up. Don't hold back. Such a simple, excellent marketing slogan. But what a pity the structural designers at Jeep weren't copied in on this brave new philosophy. The Jeep Grand Cherokee is an awesome tow platform. It's got real hardcore off-road capability and heaps of luggage space. Great performance, and it's got the look. If you're Jack Bauer...
Who is Jack Bauer?
You could zip tie as many as 5 high-value Islamic State terrorists into the boot. And you'd still have space for a bucket of weaponised anthrax and 20 kilos of highly enriched uranium-235. Just don't crash back out here in the real world, because the Grand Cherokee failed the basic offset frontal crash test, and it's thus ineligible for 5 stars. Crashworthiness experts rate its potential to protect you, the driver, from serious chest and leg injuries as marginal. And that is very limp indeed. Truly pathetic. Actually, it makes pathetic look like excellence. Range Rover Evoque. An abomination of appalling crashworthiness, despite having design input direct from Victoria Beckham's arse. One of my personal favourites. Age certainly has not wearied it, nor the years condemned. That's for sure. Despite this elite input, the Range Rover Evoque failed exactly the same crash test as the Grand Cherokee. Marginal protection from serious chest injury for the driver. Go figure. And I had previously presumed there was nothing Victoria Beckham's arse could not accomplish if she set its mind to it. It really is outstanding though. Beautifully proportioned, just the right viscoelasticity and surface tension. But not so good at finite element analysis, as it turns out. And who could have predicted that? Certainly not Land Rover's designers. It seems to me like a case of the tail wagging the dog, or turning the other cheek. Victoria Beckham's arse did not actually contribute in any salient way to the Evoque's structural design. Victoria Beckham in totality, inclusive of all 4 cheeks, contributed to the vehicle's styling and also played an ambassadorial role in the launch and subsequently of that vehicle. The blame for the Evoque's appalling crash performance lies solely with the engineers who designed the vehicle and possibly also their masters back in India. Victoria Beckham's arse could hardly have done a worse job. In any case though, it's a metaphor not meant to be taken literally. Like in the 80s when disco pop sensations 2 Tons of Fun, also known as the Weather Girls, released their hit single It's Rainin' Men back in 1982. I'm tipping they were not singing about that fateful day when an alien technology experiment in Area 51 went horribly, tragically wrong. and 1,000 men were catalysed and precipitated out of thin air at 31,000 feet over the Nevada desert. But the truth is out there. And finally, the four rings. 99% Volkswagen, but twice the price. It's got to be Audi. And what a monumental SUV snafu this is. Vorsprung der Technik must have gotten somehow lost in translation, at least at the Audi factory in Bratislava, because the floor pan in the Slovak Republic-built Audi Q7 ripped itself wide open in exactly the same basic offset front crash test failed by the other two. I'm tipping that wasn't in the script. It made that vehicle undoubtedly the flagship among SUV safety shitboxes. A beacon of botched crashworthiness from the Bratislavan bad boy costing twice as much as a Santa Fe. Protection for the driver from serious leg injury officially rated marginal. The footwells in $20,000 Hyundais don't rip themselves apart like that. I guess if you want that, it costs extra. A lot extra. This serious structural defect is why the Audi Q7 cannot join the 5-star crashworthiness club. They say they fixed it. I have some swampland in Florida you might like to invest in. Marginal is such an interesting word, a kind of biomedical engineering euphemism. It really means this. Go right ahead, buy the Grand Cherokee, the Range Rover Evoque or the Audi Q7. But only if you don't mind the thought of dying in screaming brutal agony from hypovolemic shock after having the bones in your legs or your chest shattered into 50 pieces in some kinds of crashes where you would actually walk away unscathed in a Hyundai Santa Fe. Of the 8 critical injury areas measured during that standardised offset frontal crash test, lower legs, upper legs, head and chest from both the driver and the passenger, 6 areas scored good in the Santa Fe. That's the highest possible rating. 2 scored acceptable, the driver's chest and the passenger's lower left leg. No regions in the Santa Fe crash test scored marginal. So take that, premium brand safety shitboxes. To me, this puts the perception of premium in perspective. Common Japanese and South Korean cars routinely deliver 5 stars. So you'd think 5 stars on these premium vehicles was a done deal. It's not like the vehicles presented insufficient structure for the engineers to work with. Land Rover, Jeep and Audi get away with this abject failure to protect their buyers without so much as a peep from the media. But imagine if the boot were on the other foot. Imagine if Hyundai delivered 4 stars with the others on 5. The motoring press would have a feeding frenzy. Just one example of inbuilt systemic bias in the motoring media. Those 3 allegedly premium brands should hang their heads in shame. And you should put perception to one side. They are a safety design disgrace. Corner cutting writ large up the big end of town. In every crash there's a window of about 80 milliseconds, a wafer-thin slice of mayhem in the time domain, during which the Grim Reaper can just reach in and snatch you or someone you love. The Santa Fe is far more protective when that window opens. And that's not a joke. But while we're on the subject of that second-rate Slovakian SUV from Audi, the base model diesel Q7 is $91,500 plus on road costs here in Australia. Power to weight ratio is within 3% of the Santa Fe. So slightly in Audi's favour there, but even Victoria Beckham's arse, finely calibrated instrument though it is, would not be able to identify a 3% disparity in straight line performance by touch alone. They're close. But the Santa Fe is impressively equipped. By the time you option up the Q7 to the point of rough objective equivalence with the Santa Fe Highlander, that's $1,600 price difference for premium paint, almost $3,000 for 19-inch alloy wheels, almost $4,500 for a panoramic sunroof, and just under $1,000 for heated seats. The Q7's going to knock you back more than $100,000 plus on road costs in Australia. I'm pretty sure if you dropped $100,000 on the front counter of a Hyundai dealership in used, non-sequential, unmarked, small denomination bills, they'd just hand you the keys to 2 Santa Fe Highlanders. But fair enough, I mean, I'm not blind. One of these SUVs is an Audi, the other's a Hyundai. Frankly though, the law of diminishing returns is well in play, at the very least. That's being kind. The Audi offers 4-star crashworthiness, a scummy space-saver spare. Hyundai's got a full-sized alloy. And Audi has a 3-year warranty capped at 100,000 kilometres. It's up against the 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty from Hyundai. Remember when premium meant paying disproportionately more and actually getting just a little bit more? That's hardly the case here. That probably applied back in the good old days. It's certainly a brave new world now, however. 100 grand is enough for the Highlander and a Veloster, a home theatre system with 4K TV, and a nice holiday somewhere warm. In the next instalment, I'll be looking in depth at driving and using the Santa Fe, and we'll check out its versatility in terms of transporting people, recreational gear, and the all-important trip to the hardware store. If you're interested in buying a Santa Fe right now and you want the lowest possible price, that's pretty easy. Send me a message via the website, autoexpert.com.au. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, let me know what you think, and subscribe for regular updates. I'm John Cadogan. Thanks for watching.